Okay, so this is how I make my my targets for my ballistic wax. It's basically 50% petroleum jelly, 50% wax, and in this case it smells like sugar cookies. And it's kind of red now, but it'll actually turn to a pink if you've seen any of my other videos. You'll see all the lead down at the bottom there. That is from previous shots. It all just sinks to the bottom, and at the end I just, fish it out. You heat it on a low heat until it's just completely liquefied, nice and slow. Keep stirring it. You don't want to get too hot, and then once it's done, you just pour it into your mold. And you can see this is the mold that I have been using. I need to make a slightly larger mold because my block is actually sucking back in on itself. But you'll see this part right here, how it's still in its liquid form, and you'll know how it bulges out. As it cools, it'll turn more solid. But I'll stick it in the fridge once it is cooled enough that it's solid enough to move, and it'll actually separate from the walls here, and I'll show you that, and then I'll show you the next part where we actually wrap it up to get it ready for shooting. So it takes about 35 to 40 minutes to remelt this, and I think this is about the 15th or 20th time that we've actually remelted this stuff. So you could use this over and over and over and over so far. We've shot at everything from large calibers to, we're going to shoot some more pistol calibers into it. It's very effective. We just need to make more of it and get a bigger mold, honestly. But yeah, you just melt it down, put it in here, and then once it's wrapped up, you can throw this thing on your shelf for 2-3 weeks, and then pick it up, take it out shooting. It's just like a candle in your house. It doesn't melt. It doesn't mold like ballistic gel. So it's a reusable, what I would say, a reusable ballistic target. So like I said, this thing has been used multiple times, and a lot of that's from the varmint test rounds. It just exploded into the block. But yeah, that's it. I'll show you the next part once it cools. So it's been sitting here on the counter for about an hour at room temperature, and as you can see, it's starting to change color, solidify. It's still, soft. I can't move it to the fridge yet. Give it another probably hour, and I'll be able to throw this thing in the fridge, and it'll be good to go relatively soon. 2 hours in, as you can see, it's firm enough I can actually move it around. The center is still liquidy. It's still quite warm, but you can see that it's definitely solid enough to move. So we'll put it in the fridge, and in about an hour or two, we'll be able to just plop this back out of the mold. If you are really concerned, leave it in overnight. But it's really not needed, or at least from my experience. Reconstitute this thing within a few hours. If I had a deeper mold, I could have just put it straight into the refrigerator without having any issues. But being that this is the mold that I'm using, I just let it cool and then put it in the fridge. Alright, you'll notice that this came out of the fridge, and as you look around it, you'll see that there's now gaps around it. When you flip this over, it comes right out of the block, nice and easy. This is what we're going to start wrapping. So what we'll do is we'll take a couple bags, we'll put over it, and then we'll wrap it in some tape. So I just use these bags, and what this does is it just gives it a layer between it and the tape or anything else that you're going to go ahead and wrap it in, so it doesn't get stuck to it. Now you'll see it. I've shot this thing a bunch of times, but basically it was just a bag that was wrapped around one of the blocks, and I just used tape to tape it up. And now whenever I shoot something, I just basically reuse this as a kind of a glove to hold it. I've learned that you can't get it super tight, otherwise it'll just bust out at the seams. And you just wrap it in tape. Now I go one step further, and I do put it in cardboard after this. That's really, it's up to you if you want to do that. I just do that to keep it protected as I transport it back and forth a little bit more, so my results don't get jacked up bouncing from here to the tape. Now there's other ways of doing this. Some people use what's called test tubes, which is a cardboard tube that they seal up and they cast into it, and then they just shoot into the tube. I originally tried that, and what ended up happening was the tube would never actually hold up. Either it would blow out catastrophically, or every time you go to fill it, the wax would just find its way through different holes, and you'd end up making quite a big of a mess. See, that was from the force on the last shot. Alright. Okay. So take our block, slide it up into our little cardboard piece here. Again, if I was just going to the backyard, shoot this, I wouldn't really worry about wrapping it up in the cardboard. It's just, this just gives it a little bit more protection for whenever I actually do drive way out into the desert to test this stuff. I wrap the block just to give it a little bit of protection for whenever I'm doing some transporting. And if I was just going outside and shooting in my backyard, I probably wouldn't put the cardboard on it or nothing like that. Just that the bag with the tape on it is just enough to keep the wax from exploding out. The tests that we have been doing are very impressive, and you know, we get to see what that bullet will do, if it's going to break up and just completely demolish itself, or you know, if it is a sustainable hunting round or something that we could use for hunting. It is a little bit harder than your ballistic gel, so you may not get that full penetration that you would otherwise with ballistic gel. But you know, it's still a good representation. It does give you a good idea of what your bullets are going to do, especially for me, because you know, I'm a big hunter. That I really want to know what my bullets are going to do, what type of cavity. That way I can make a quick, clean, and ethical kill. If you want to do this, it doesn't take a lot to actually get into making your own targets, but this one, you know, unlike other ballistic gels, you know, it doesn't mold. It's very stable and temperature safe. You know, I molded it, remolded it. The key is just, you know, keep it on a low temperature as you melt it, and really that's about it.